about that because I know I don't know anything about it. And I would love to learn a little bit more about the AI process. And I know it's something it's fairly
It's very
controversial, right?
controversial.
It
But
is.
I think that with the right application, it could be used ethically, and it could be really kind of a cool tool for creatives to use. It's not replacing us. You can't replace us. We're here,
Right.
But
Right.
I
Yeah.
think that would
Yeah.
be kind of
And
neat.
AI, while it can write convincingly, it's still kind of clearly not human writing because it doesn't follow the rules that you learn to break as an author.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, and that's the fun part about writing, isn't it? Is breaking your own rules. And of course, that's not
Oh,
what
yeah.
your professors will tell you. Oh my gosh,
Yep.
there's my friends. I see them on the little chat there. I go, Becca, I've missed you, honey. I have. I really
Look at
have.
that. Look at that. Everyone came out to see you.
I appreciate that. And what I was saying is I would love to have an AI that would help me kind of create an outline out of my jumble of thoughts that I have for a story. Because you know how when you get going, you usually have a bunch of different ideas banging around in your head. You're like, all right, I'm going to make this work somehow. But you don't quite know how you're going to make it work yet.
Mhm.
So it would be kind of cool if you had an AI that could help you with that organization process. That
So
might be
there
interesting.
is actually a new tool on the market. I haven't
Katie
played with it
knows.
much yet, but from what I've seen, it's really cool. And it does have the options for plugging in like outlines and story ideas and whatnot so that you can really refine it like you're talking about. And it's Rebecca, you've been playing with it too.
I'm not touching that. I'm not touching that.
See, you were missed. You were missed. So, hey, welcome everybody. Before we jump too far down to the deep end, another episode of Spilling Ink, the talk show that takes you behind the book to meet the authors and professionals in the publishing industry. And as you all who are already in the audience know, Jay's back. Jay is back. Welcome back, Jay.
I have missed you all. I really have. Thank you. All you friends that are here in the comments, I have missed you. I don't know who Cool Gamer is, but I've missed you too, whoever you are. Yeah, so good to be back. And guys, it's been years, so please forgive me if I'm a little bit rusty.
We are just happy to have you back. It has been longer than a minute.
Yeah.
It has been, but this is fun. You know, I had a much needed break from life, and now life is tired of me being on break, so I need to get back involved and talking to people again. And plus, I have a cool project to talk about tonight. So it's good all the way around. You know,
that's
see these two beautiful ladies, and then this handsome person in the bottom. I mean, it's just good. Yeah, it's good.
So this project that dragged you from the depths, that brought you back into writing again.
Yes.
What is it?
Okay. If we're getting down to business, I will start talking about this project. So I was, oh God, man, it's been a couple months now. A friend reached out to me and, hey, would you consider writing a short story for an anthology? And I'm like, I haven't written in years. I don't really know that I want to do this. But then she said, well, it's a charity anthology. And I was like, okay, I'm liking this better, and then she said, it's going to be supporting the Trevor Project. And if you don't know, the Trevor Project, yes, a lovely logo there, is a wonderful organization. And I've got some notes here, so I actually tell you exactly. Okay, so on their website, the Trevor Project, their mission is end suicide among lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and questioning young people. And they do that through a number of different crisis services and counseling services. So this is a really, really good cause to be involved with and to raise money for. And when I heard that, I was like, okay, absolutely, I have to get involved with it. But then the real kicker was after that. They said, it's horror. I was like, oh, well, this is definitely me. I for sure have to get involved with this because I love almost all things horror. As Jane, I know you love horror as well, and your horror is far more brutal than mine ever could be. Yes, yes.
I don't know. Are we sure about that?
Jane is vicious. I've only read a couple of her scary stories, and they scarred me. They did. I'll never be the same now. But yeah, so the anthology is called We're Here, and yes, there we go. Katie's got a great graphic of it there. And as it says right on there, it's 12 different author. Each story in here is by an author that's part of the LGBTQ community, and each story has characters or themes that follow the queer storyline. So it's really important to us and to the anthology because queer horror is a relatively small thing right now. There's not a lot of representation in horror, and horror is a huge genre. Horror is a much loved genre. So we're trying to really, make more of a place there and say, hey, check this out. It's written by and maybe about someone who's queer, and it's still great horror, and so you horror lovers can check it out and still find something that you can absolutely love. And hi, Sarah, I love you, hon. Thank you so much for coming by. It's really good to see you. Sarah actually lives here in Holland. She's a friend of mine who organizes the Holland Pride Festival, which is a huge job, and she kicks ass. So yeah, and the other big reason besides representation, of course, is to make money for our charity. That's the big thing. So guys, this has been me talking straight for almost 5 minutes here without getting too off track. I just gotta take a break here and tell you that I'm proud of myself. So far, I'm really proud. We haven't gone off the rails yet, Katie, Jane. Thank you. I appreciate it. I will keep going because I can't do this for long. I can't do it for long.
We'll time you.
So the publisher for this is Gloom House, which is a small indie press, which is far and away my favorite type of press to work with. I love the indies, and they're out of Pennsylvania. They publish horror and sci-fi, dark fantasies, other really kind of bizarre stuff, and they really like to celebrate diversity of all kind. So it was kind of a good marriage there, and they're doing all the formatting, all the editing, putting together the paperback. So yeah, that's all really cool.
Do we have a link?
I need a break from all that. What's that?
Do we have a link that we can share so that we can tell people where to find it?
I'm sure they're online.
All right. We'll find it. We'll make sure it gets posted in the show notes.
I mean, I bet they have one.
Almost got it all.
Yeah, almost got it all.
We will find it. We will make sure it goes into the show notes. Don't worry.
But the trippy thing about every one of these anthologies, and I love you guys, but all of these anthologies want to do one thing. Oh, and they want to do it more than anything, more than making money, more than making a kick-ass book. They want to start a group chat.
Oh,
that's what anthologies want to do. Fucking group chats.
Oh, I know. I was in a couple anthologies this past year. Group chat.
Yeah.
You want to stab myself in the eye with a pencil?
Yes.
I believe that is actually what hell is. Hell is
having to deal with
fucking group chat with everyone you know. But, I mean, seriously, you put 12 authors, a couple publishers, and an organizer in a group chat. Oh, I mean, it's brutal.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
I'm like, that's worse than my whirlpool nightmare.
Yeah. So I don't enjoy that. Thankfully, nobody tags me in anything in the group chat, so I am thankful for that. So thank you if any of you are watching. I apologize, but yes, please God, don't tag me.
I silence them. Silence. And then I look later and I go, oh, I was supposed to do something.
It's funny working with other authors, but still being an individual in one of these, because it's like, is what I'm writing kind of in line with what other people are writing. Is this too fucked up? Is it just right? Is it in the middle? Yes. Oh yes.
Yeah.
How is this faring? Because mine is, oh, well, I have notes on mine as well. Check this out. I have notes, Katie. I did. So my story is called Trauma, and it is traumatic. It was a little bit traumatic to write. I imagine it's going to be a little challenging to read. And it has an attempted rape in it. And I think it was really tough for me to decide on whether or not to go with this in the story or not, because rape is something that's horrible. It's absolutely terrible. I have 3 daughters, and so thinking about things like this are tough for me. But writing this story, which is about it's about a young trans woman who lives by herself in an older home, and she's very vulnerable because she's had a lot of traumatic experiences in her life that have led to a post-traumatic stress disorder, which I actually learned quite a bit about on this show from, gosh, what was her name? The lady who came on. Virginia. Yes, Virginia. Cruzy?
Cruz.
Yeah.
Cruz. Okay. But I learned a lot about it from her, and it inspired me to dig a little deeper. But so what we have in this story is a little bit of the paranormal and a little bit of the what I would call, real life horror. Where she's trying to figure out these strange things that are going on inside her house and with her life, and doesn't know if they're real or if it's something that her traumatized brain is kind of making up and fucking with her. So I felt like I really wanted to do something better than just a, total fantasy bloodbath, but I definitely wanted to make it, a little spooky, but also real life. Trans women are the most vulnerable group of people in our country as far as being assaulted, raped, murdered. And so this is a very real possibility that something like this could happen to a person. And so that's why I included it in there. I didn't want to kind of skimp out on it and say, okay, this kind of thing doesn't happen. But see, now I'm off the rails. If I had just read straight down that paragraph, oh, that would have been so much smoother. But I'm not going to.
The scariest horrors are the things that can really happen.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that right there, that will give you nightmares that will exist in your mind forever, and trauma especially does exist forever in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I felt bad at the same time, and I asked the publisher, should I put some kind of content warning on here, a trigger warning on here, because I don't want someone who could potentially be triggered by this to read it and be like, oh, this sucks, and he basically told me, he's like, there's a lot of horrific things in fiction, and I don't think that we have to put a content warning on all of them. When people go into it, they expect to see something kind of horrible, and so hopefully that's the case.
Absolutely, in horror, it's almost a given that there's horrific things included.
Yeah.
If you were writing a romance, that's a whole other genre and story that if you had scenes like that you would have to write the trigger warning.
Okay. Let's poll the audience too. What do you guys think? Are trigger warnings something that you don't like to see, that you do think are good, are a little overblown? Like, what do you how do you receive a trigger warning?
Yeah, Rebecca, chime in on this. I want your opinion. Seriously, because I've heard some of her opinions on things like this, but I definitely would, in a finished published piece of work, do you want to see
of
those
my
content?
Yeah,
I look at it in 2 different ways. Sometimes the trigger warning is, yes, a warning. beware, this is going to happen. But sometimes it can be used as a sales pitch too.
Mm-hmm.
Warning, there's this in here. Oh, I like that stuff. That's the kind of stuff I like to read, you know?
Right.
But then it can also be seen by some as, you know, do we really need to be warned about this? Come on now, we're in the horror genre, you know?
Right.
So it takes all kinds.
Yeah, that's true. And on Netflix too, I sometimes think, oh boy, we've gone way overboard with our with the warnings that pop up on Netflix shows now. I'm like, come on, really?
Oh yeah, they had smoking as one of the warnings on Bridgerton, the Queen Charlotte one. They had smoking.
Really?
I'm like, what?
Okay, so Sarah says, in regards to the trigger warning, my partner says yes to the trigger warnings. I say no for horror specific books. I think that sounds fair, Sarah. Thank you for asking your partner about that.
And all opinions are valid here because, you know, everyone is going to have some different view on it. So if you are afraid that you're going to, you know, respond and it's going to be attacked, no, we want your opinions. So please feel free to post them in the live chat.
Okay. Rebecca says, a book like this, it gets super controversial. And my description of this book, everyone watching, all the millions, it was not very good. I apologize, but if you read the story, I think that'd be a good. You don't see an abundance of trigger warnings with horror, but trigger warnings in general are okay. Thank you, AF. Yeah, and I have grown a lot more sensitive to things as I get older. Not really sure why, but you know, there's sometimes I'll be reading or watching a show and I'll just be like, I don't think there's anything wrong, but this isn't something I can do, and I'll have to stop. And then so I wonder if, you know, if at the beginning, if there was a warning, how would I have taken that? Would I've just been like, I can handle this and plow it on through, or would I decided, okay, maybe that's not for me? Oh, I didn't do a silly voice. Rebecca, we could do silly voices. With horror, yeah. Well, speaking of horrible things and romance and horror, Heather, my wife Heather, recently read I think it was The Taking of Sleeping Beauty, something.
Anne Rice?
Anne Rice.
Those are
some naughty books.
All right, so Heather.
I knew what it was.
Those ones need a warning label.
Yes. Well, yeah, she absolutely hated it. And Heather loves the steamy smut. She absolutely loved it.
That wasn't steamy. No. Those are not steamy.
And she was just like, this was just rape porn, the whole freaking book. And it apparently said in the book description that it was empowering. And she was like, no. The hell was this empowering?
Yeah.
Like, I haven't read it.
I didn't read that book, but I've read the reviews and the, you know, the things on it.
I have read them.
Yeah, I haven't yet. I read,
whoa.
Yeah, super smutty books I've been reading lately, you know. like K.F. Breen's Beauty and the Beast retelling, that one, The Ruin of Roses, that's the one that I said had too much sex. My husband's reading it and he's like, yeah, it has too much sex.
That seems so odd to hear from you. It just has too much sex.
For me. For me.
Sure.
I'm like, this just has a little bit too much. A little too over the top.
Well,
the plot's pretty good.
I believe in the balance, you know? I mean, even if it's a smutty book, you know, give me a good balance between some kind of plot and sex, or even in regular books. Like far and away my favorites.
The plot was really good, but it could have been probably 2 books instead of 4 if they cut about half of the sex. I mean, the sex was hot too, so hey. Sorry.
All right, okay, back to what you're saying. Back to what you're saying. Balance in the porn. I mean the story, the plot.
Yes. Well, yeah. Well, you know what's kind of funny, and yes, Rebecca, I totally just outed her, but that's all right. She doesn't watch this. But you know what? I almost find, because porn can be great. That porn's fun, but I almost find super well done hot sex scenes in normal movies or books almost sexier than watching, just banging,
Surprise sex.
Yeah. I mean, there's my favorite fantasy series right now is the Nevernight Chronicles, and it's been years, but I know I've probably said it on here before. Jay Kristoff, absolutely fantastic. And there are a couple of sex scenes that you really just don't see coming, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, that was a good sex scene.
Okay.
Holy shit.
Mhm.
And they just kind of really he knocked it out of the park. And actually my wife just is finishing reading the series, and she was like, are you sure this guy's a guy? I was like, oh, I'm sure. I know he is. He's just that good.
Mhm.
But yeah, so good sex scenes in mainstream books, I think are primo. Yes.
Okay.
How did we get here?
Warning labels.
Warning labels.
Warning labels. Yeah.
Of course, we had to go
Of
straight. for
course,
sex
we
with warning
understand
labels.
it. we know exactly why we got here.
We don't care about other warning labels. We just want to talk about sex.
Yes.
And there's Rebecca with the good comment. I like it.
Oh yeah. Oh, good old warning labels. Love it. But I feel really good about a show when I start it up on HBO or Netflix or whatever it's on, and it says, graphic violence and graphic sex, nudity, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be great. This is gonna be a good night.
My husband looks for those too.
That's what I said. It's sometimes a sales pitch. It's like, oh, that's got what in it?
Yep.
Yes.
But you know what they need to do? They need to have those right in the description, so you don't have to
Yes.
start the stupid thing to see it.
Right.
And see, Netflix. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh yes.
So
Boy,
this book,
just like that.
this anthology, no warning labels on it because it is the horror genre. So
Yeah.
expect horrible things with good stories.
Yes, expect horrible things with good stories, and I'm sure, I definitely not all of them will be like mine. And mine is not a slasher horror. It's not a rape-driven story by any means. It's not like, I Spit on Your Grave 1 through 3 or anything like that. It's a story about a woman who's had a really tough life, who's struggling to get through some very challenging situations and figure out where she's going. And I think that it's a good story. I did put a little author's note after it that I asked the publisher to include, explaining why the story is the way it is. But yeah, so I think that, which is why I said warning labels here are controversial. Rebecca, you are so wise. Everything you say is so wise, especially all those little short stories that you sent me recently. They were so good. I love them, Rebecca. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it was literature. Don't worry, girls.
Do tell?
No, it was all literature, the history of Botswana. Good stuff.
Yeah, they could be used as advertisements.
Yeah, for sure.
And sometimes for the wrong reasons, which I'm assuming she's hinting there with the extra emphasis on the word could.
Could, yep.
And yes, you are wise.
Yes.
Let's all bow down to Rebecca. You are wise.
Oh, shoot.
So now, how long did it take you to work on those stories, or sorry, your story for this anthology?
Oh, shit. Not very long. I mean, they're short stories in an anthology, and I think the word count max was like 5K on them. So I think I probably did like 35 or 4,000. I usually try to hit around there, but yeah, maybe just a couple weeks really. And then from there, it's the point of letting as many people read it as I could and trying to take their, no, sorry, I'm reading Rebecca's comments. And then trying to, I mean, you don't want to know about mine, but a lot of books, a lot of reading. But yeah, so I think that's the longest part, is sending stuff out to beta readers or alpha readers, or whatever you want to say, waiting for them to get back to you. And not Rebecca. Rebecca got back to me in like 30 minutes, of course. You know what the first thing Rebecca said after all her shit talking right here? A trigger warning would have been nice.
Oh,
That's what you said, Rebecca.
oh no.
But I love you, Rebecca.
For beta
yeah,
reading, are you using Story Origin now for that, or no? They're beta for the beta readers and the tool sets through Story Origin. I just did my first one this time, and it was quite cool.
Wait a second, Jane.
Hold on. Yes.
You can filter those things?
I don't know if you
Rebecca?
can, but perhaps Regine is questioning whether or not that was an option, what kind of people would filter.
Okay.
Well, or if you know how to do that filter,
No.
Okay, Tina said, an author I know used a 1-star review as an ad. There was a kiss between two females in the book, and the guy said there should have been a warning for it. She sold a lot of books through that ad. I think that's brilliant. I love it, Tina. And I've recently seen another author doing that, and I thought that was great. Jane, I'm so sorry you got interrupted by Regine and then me.
That's okay. I kind of went, I have no idea what I was saying.
I don't either. That's why I've apologized.
I'm just like,
that was a total derail comment there.
I started to read, and then my mind just went on the reading.
You were talking about, thank you, Anita, the Story Origins beta reading.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Anita. Yes.
Yeah.
No,
I actually beta read for somebody to see it from the reader's point of view, too, because I had never done that, and it was actually interesting and useful. Which I was like, hot damn, something's interesting and useful for us. Another tool.
Well, how does it work?
I did a call to arms for beta readers, and I got a couple of them, and then I send them the link in Story Origin, or you can just put the link in and people sign up, and you can see what it's sort of like the reviewers. You can see what they've done before, and then decide whether you want them as a beta reader or not, and accept them. So it's the same premise as the reviewer one, but as a reader, each chapter you go through, you have to at least rate it and maybe put a small comment at the end. Before you go to the next chapter.
That was going to be one of my questions. Is how do you know they're actually
Yep. And you can see their progress from a writer's point of view. So you can see their progress, but as a reader, you have to get through that first one and at least rate. I don't know if you have to leave comments. You just have to rate. Was it, on a 1 to 5 stars? Did it capture your attention? Does it want you to read more? I think those are the two things. And then you go on to the next chapter, and it logs it. And then as an author, you can update, and they can go back and look at your updates if you want.
Oh, that's helpful.
That's really cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Here's one of this is gonna sound bad. I'm gonna try and make it sound as nice as possible.
Yeah.
Story Origin's biggest problem was the size of its user base. And it kind of became a little bit prohibitive because you could use it and it has wonderful features, but it wasn't reaching enough people to make it as worthwhile as, say, like a book funnel or something else, which had a higher tier cost for use. And I know Story Origin has gone to a pay system, but it's still relatively low cost.
Yep.
Is there enough people using the system now that it makes it worthwhile?
I mean, I've had some success with my reviewers because, when I say, do you want a review copy? And I do it through Story Origin, not Book Funnel. Getting beta readers, it's a little bit different than reviewers because you want their comments. You want their feedback, and it's sort of a contract between you and that beta reader. So I think people jumping in to do that are fewer, but they're more aligned with what beta readers are and what they usually do. So, I mean, I got 2 people.
But one you're getting quality on the reviews.
One of them I'm getting excellent on the reviews, and I'm fixing things that she's found.
Okay.
So that's good. You know, I mean, Rebecca does that for me too. She kind of like beats me up on certain things, on plot holes and things like that, or or just asking questions of I don't get this, and it's really good to get that feedback, not only in in the textual content, but overall on the chapter. Like it like it went a little slow. This is why I think it went slow. So it was the beta reader that I found is really good. So yes, a useful beta reader, just like you.
Oh shit! I did not use Story Origin. I sent mine out the old-fashioned way, just sending docs to a handful of people, and Rebecca was one of them. And she, Rebecca is a useful beta reader.
Oh yeah, she is. She can be harsh.
Yeah,
but it's warranted.
And
it's absolutely
Rebecca
warranted.
And I think that it's the people that have had editing experience in the business that tend to make great beta readers. Rebecca was great. And also Jessica West, that was great. That went through and did line edits on like 85% of it. I was like, holy shit, girl!
Yeah.
But so that's and then of course the organizer for this. I'm losing my words, for this anthology, Angelique Jordana, actually went through and did editing for me as well, which is nice because I think for a lot of authors, especially if you're doing a charity anthology, it'd be a lot to ask to say, okay, but you also need to hire an editor to clean your work before you submit it to us, which I'm sure happens, but yeah, that would be a tough sell.
Oh yeah, it does. The ones I've been in, they've been expected to have it edited before it goes in. Yes, I know. And you were absolutely right.
She's firm, but kind.
Yeah,
she usually is. She usually is. Rebecca and I co-wrote a story together, and it was so chaotic doing it because we're both kind of doing our own pace at different places, and we're not talking all the time. So it was a crazy experience. But she has so much knowledge just about putting together the story and the story structure and what's going to make it work right. That it's really pretty cool to work with her. See, now I've talked you up, Rebecca.
Yeah. And yeah, she still has to finish mine.
Surprise wedding. That's usually the theme of the year, surprise weddings. Maybe not all surprises, but weddings definitely seem to be.
Well, yeah, this is the year of the weddings and cruises. I already told you that.
Yeah.
2 cruises, 2 weddings.
Well, I've got one that's either marriage or pregnancy age right now. She's 23, and so I'm waiting for that call. Like, okay, what's the call gonna be? What are you gonna tell me? Yeah, because who knows?
Billy is 23, so yes.
Yep.
But he at least waited until he was 23. Vicky got married at 20. But she did everything like a like the Roadrunner on fire. But yes. Yeah.
Well, all right. Katie, what's been new with you? It's been so long since we've talked. I know you've got a new place. What's up with your life?
Honestly, it's same old.
Yeah.
It's pretty much survival, that's what you do. I do a lot of writing, but I'm not writing for myself. So I haven't actually written anything new or anything produced, which I need to get on. I need to just do that. Jane and I are supposed to be doing another collaboration, and we just neither one of us has been ready to jump yet. So
yes, we're I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I got to wrap up these things. I got to get through this year. Actually, I got to get through the year of weddings and cruises.
And then of course I got Fight Club.
Yep.
Somebody had said that too at the gym the other day. They're like, "This isn't Fight Club." I'm like, "It absolutely is Fight Club. We just talk about it."
I said that's the first rule, Katie. You don't talk about it.
What did I tell you? I break the rules. Learn them and
That's
then
the
break
core
them.
concept.
Yes.
Oh, Rebecca, I'll collab with you again sometime if you want.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
The collaboration process it's fun, it's challenging, but it can definitely be stressful, especially if you're seeing things from different angles, not on the same page, figuratively speaking, or competing ideas for things.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that when we were working together, yeah, Rebecca, I am serious. I would totally work with you again. I already had a kind of a set of scenes, I guess you will. These were scenes out of a real person's life that I was working into a fiction story. And so we weren't coming into it as, let's start this new book from the ground up. But like, okay, well, I already have this set of scenes that I want to work in. And so I think that it was kind of weird because we didn't just create everything. And I think it would be really fun to sometime, actually just create something with you, Rebecca. I think that would be a fun experience. Because collaborations are tricky and challenging, but they can also be really rewarding too. Oh, neener, Katie. I know, mean old Katie Solitis.
She acts like she doesn't stay up every single weekend with me working on sprints and stuff since we both write.
Yeah.
We write a lot together. We just don't write the same thing.
Right.
But, I haven't had.
And for us, for Katie and I, it was covers. In both cases, it was the covers. I'm like, I gotta get these. We're gonna write these, Katie.
Beautiful covers.
Aren't these awesome?
I remember that. You're a cover holic.
I'm a cover whore. Beyond cover holic, I'm a cover whore. But that ends this year.
Sure it does, buddy. Sure.
Yes, it does.
and I haven't had the desire to write anything in several years now. I just I had become so disillusioned with the whole business of writing that I was like, this is just I'm just not into it anymore. And I think now, Skinwalker sound amazing, Rebecca, actually. And I think at this point, it's kind of, my whole mind has reset enough that I can start working on something. And again, and in fact, my wife, who sometimes pulls out the craziest, most insane and beautiful ideas, actually had an idea for a novel about a serial killer that involves infectious diseases. And I'm like, honey, this is like, yeah, let's do this, baby. so we
talking your language.
Yep.
Yeah. So we are very tentatively dipping our toes into the water of creating a plot for this and getting some background on characters. And I'm really, really excited because, working with my wife would be kind of a dream. She has a fantastic mind. She is so damn sharp and clever. And I think it would be a lot of fun. And it's kind of like, okay, well, I've got experience doing this and you've got all these great ideas. I feel like we could build something together. Yeah.
I think you've got a couple with people here on board.
Yeah.
Oh,
that book.
Regine, now that sadly my friends at Three Furies, they closed their doors, and so I have a couple books that are floating out there, and I think that I want to take a crack at really rewriting that one, and just making it as much the best that it possibly can be, because I really, really loved the story and Pathosis, and I'm like, okay, now that I'm older and I think a little bit smarter, God, I hope I'm smarter. I can maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I
We just let
keep
go
losing
of
brain
things.
cells. I know that, but yeah, it'll be fun to take another crack at it. And there's some. There's actually a book that because I do all audiobooks now, and there's one I was just listening to 2 days ago, and it was a James Rollins book, and I really enjoy James Rollins. There's just fun thriller novels, and in this story, they're talking a lot about the Romani people, and he kept throughout the whole book referring to them as gypsies, and I'm like, it's not something they want to be called, to them it's a slur. And I'm like, at this point, I feel like you could go back as a New York Times bestselling author and say, okay, let's make some quick changes. Let's take out some of this offensive shit and redo it. So I think that's where I'm at now. Is I want to write stuff that's good, but that's not going to hurt people. I don't think I cared so much about that when I was younger. You're writing for the purity of your writing and that kind of crap. It's like, no, but other people hurt too, and I don't want to be the one that hurt it. Oh, your Romani friend loves the word gypsy. Yep, and that's up to them. That's great. Oh, Mick Collins is here too. Mick is also Mick. You finally made it. I've already talked about all this stuff now, Mick. Mick is also a part of this this anthology, so you missed all the good stuff. I was pretty much talking about you the whole time and your amazing story, and now you will just never know. Yes. All right. So where were we? I think that Jane and Katie were going to collab, and Katie and Rebecca were going to collab, and I'm going to collab with my wife and Rebecca.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when is that book out?
Okay. All right. So we'll get back to business now that one of the other cast members is here. Okay. So we're here. We'll do a recap. We are here. Charity anthology supporting the Trevor Project. It's going to be coming out on June 16th. Katie's putting up a graphic, I'm assuming. No? I thought that's what she was doing.
I was just sharing the link first.
Yeah.
12 great authors, one great cause. And it's by us and Gloomhouse Publishing. I don't know all the author's name off the top of my head here, but all these stories are by an LGBTQ author and have themes from the queer community or characters from the queer community. It's a really cool thing. It's important that you remember that it is horror. It is adult horror. So there's going to be content in here that is disturbing, just like any other book of horror that you pick up. Yeah.
Oh, now Rebecca wants to collab with it there.
I got to tell you, you and my wife would really get along based on her reading habits and your writing habits. I think that you would make a great team.
And you'll just take the notes, right?
Yes, that's right.
Let me ask this question, because I think we all come at this in a similar way, because I think everybody here has burned out a little bit in the what do you call it, the hamster wheel of writing that we feel like once we get on it, we can never get off of. Yeah. What has changed for you when it comes to your approach to writing, that it is not as daunting or as hamster wheel as before?
Honestly, I'm trying to start back from where I was when I was 29 and I first tried writing a book. That's what I'm trying to do now. I don't necessarily need to tell everybody about it or, look at the word count or anything like that. I'm just kind of picking away at things gently, because I feel like this relationship I have with creative writing is really fragile. It has really, I like that, Rebecca. It's been through a lot of shit. It had some successes and it had some failures, and I feel like I just don't want to pull on it too hard. I don't want to pluck that string too hard. And so, yeah, Rebecca, I definitely want to write for the love of writing, but at this point, it's also finding that love of writing again. Because when you make something so much work, it is difficult to forget that you fell in love with it to begin with. You know, I mean, just like any relationship, it is work, but you gotta go for those, the passionate things too, right? So that's what I'm trying to do. When it came to this story, I felt absolutely no pressure whatsoever, because I knew that I wasn't writing something I was going to try to sell, that I was going to try to cram down people's throats, that I needed to get past an agent or anything like that. I was writing something because I believed in the cause, and I thought it was fun, and it was a breeze. It was like nothing being able to put it together. So, and that made me feel so happy after so long.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Katie knows I've questioned a lot, like, why am I doing this? But then I always have the answer, because I love telling stories.
And you do it well.
And while all of the business side sometimes is a drag, it is a business, and the product I love. And it is, and if one person reads it or 100,000 people read it, I'm okay with that. I've gotten to that point where I'm okay, and yes, I'd like to make, enough to sustain what I earn now when I retire. But that's, in my head, that's not realistic. And I'm not about to shell, $15,000 on coaching to get there,
Well, and
Yeah, that's a ridiculous amount of money, by the way.
Yes, it
Oh.
is. It
well,
is.
and
When I heard that figure, I was like, oh.
Yeah, I'm like, and they guarantee. And I'm like, how can you guarantee? How can you truly guarantee? And I'm like, you really can't, unless you're, I don't know.
And for me, it's been about kind of coming to a place of acceptance, and it's kind of like those stages of grief or whatever.
Mhm.
And, I accept that writing is not how I make money. It's not how I'm going to support myself or retire. This is going to be something that, if I am writing, it's going to be because I want to, and not because I have to. I don't have to write 10,000 words a day or 1,000 words a day. That's not the headspace I'm in anymore. I only want to do this if I really feel enriched by it. And I think that thinking about it this way has really been good for me. And I think for those of you out there who are professional writers who need to sell books, that's not a good way of thinking of it. You need to sit your ass down and write your freaking words. But for me, that's how I want it to be. I don't want that pressure to succeed. I just want to create something that I'm happy with.
That's partially why I have a love-hate relationship with ghostwriting. The hate part of it is because the ego can't be there. You're the ghost. You are not tied to the book once it leaves your desk. But on the positive, I am getting paid to do something I love, and I do love writing. I hate the sales and marketing and all the other crap that goes with it. I hate that part so much. I just want to be able to write. And so as a ghostwriter, I get this is the book you're writing, and then it's done. This is the book you're writing, and then it's done. I get that aspect of it. I'm constantly able to churn out new stories without ever having to worry about the other side of it. But then, because I don't worry about the other side of it, then there's the little ego hit you get of, well, what if it becomes a bestseller? And my name's not on it.
Right? Yes, you had something to do with it. That's while the world doesn't.
Yeah,
you do.
But
and
the trade-off
some of the
is
people,
you don't deal with the crap side of it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Write it and say goodbye.
Yep. Exactly.
All right. So Mick says, same here. This is my art and I love doing it. once it turns into more of a business, then the dynamic changes. Finding that balance can be rough. Mick, this is something that I have said. You know, if you didn't know, Mick, I used to be a regular part of this show, and I've said this so many times, only every time I said it, I would get a little bit angrier, a little bit more frustrated, because I was not finding the balance. It was this idea that if I'm writing good stories, I have to be making money. I'm entitled to this readership or something like that. And it's all just, I mean, it's all crap. You know, I think that you're right. Finding the balance is good, and being realistic about what to expect. You know, do you want to publish books because you love writing? Great. We can all do that very easily. You want to make money? I don't know about that.
Bit more work.
A little bit more work.
and my brain does not do mathematics. So doing all, you know, trying to figure out all of the algorithms and you know, in ads and stuff like that, I'm like, set it and forget it.
Yeah.
Because
and you've got what, like 75 books too that you're keeping track
70,
of?
yeah.
70. Holy shit.
She has way too many books.
Yep.
Trying to algorithm each one of those? No way.
Yeah. And I only do the first in the series at this point. Because the rest of them are just, it isn't worth it to me. So if I get the first one and I get somebody to bite on that, then I usually see some sell through. So, but it's like, I haven't gone to look and I know, you know, I took the course, Brian Cohen's course on Amazon ads, and you're supposed to check them and tweak them, and no. but I honestly, I spend less than $5 a month for like 400 ads.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I don't know that's how it's supposed to work, actually.
Well, the spend is down. The cost per click is way down. So that's the positive.
Regine brings up a nice little point. We're gonna have to do a show and talk about this at some point. The writer's strike is a big deal right now. And it's proof positive that, you know, good writers don't always make good money, because that's one of the primary reasons that they're striking, is they're not being compensated the way that they should be for the work that they've done for successful shows.
Yeah. I mean, they're the reason the shows are successful.
Right.
I mean,
exactly.
I'm not dogging on cinematographers and directors. I mean, because you all are phenomenal, but yeah, you know, that
look back
I'm
in history. The last time the writers had a major strike, we went into reality TV.
Yeah.
Because trying to cut the writers out, that's what we ended up with.
Yeah. And that was bad.
I mean, and there's shows that are coming out in the next couple of years that I'm nervous about. I'm like, I don't want these to be filmed without real writers.
Well, and even with some real writers, I mean, I've been doing Tan Talks lately over on the Plotaholics with Brian and Melinda, and the quality of shows lately that have been coming out, it's very sad. I mean, they're taking these massive IPs with huge followings, and they're writing to the lowest standard and passing it off because they know they can. Right. And all the plot holes and issues that we're finding, it's like, why? You know you can do this, right? You have the money, you have the people. Why aren't you doing better for the fans?
Right. Right. I mean, and you know, what they can have the prettiest cinematography, and if the writing is crap, it's not going to make money.
Oh, you know what? It's kind of how I've always felt about the band Black Sabbath, and then Ozzy Osbourne on his own. They have really, really cool music, and then Ozzy singing. I just can't do it. I mean, if you just listen to the music of Crazy Train, when it gets going, you're like, yeah, and then he starts singing, you're like, fuck, this sucks. But yes, there's a lot of hollow shows out there that should be amazing. They've got great stars, you know. I haven't seen Avatar 2. I'm too nervous to watch it.
It's beautiful
I'm
eye
so
candy.
scared to watch it. What's
yes,
that?
it's beautiful
eye
eye
candy.
candy.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
beautiful. I mean, it's the cinematography is first rate.
Okay.
Yeah. I enjoyed watching it. The eye candy, especially. Like I could just sit and stare for the whole 3 hours. It's just that gorgeous.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, Rebecca,
Yes.
you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. We're feeding it too.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's not talk about that because that one kind of dragged for me in the middle. But that's beside the point. It was beautifully filmed.
Oh.
Yes.
The CGI was great. That way.
No, one that I'm looking forward to coming out on streaming for me, that I haven't seen is that 65, the dinosaur movie with Kylo
Oh,
Ren.
yeah.
I haven't seen it, but I would like to. I love dinosaur movies. Yeah.
I won't say anything about that one.
Don't say anything about it, Katie.
My son made us watch Ted Lasso last night.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
It's supposed to be really good.
It is. It's quite wholesome in comparison to the other stuff I watch. Put it that way. And it's got some great humor, great clean humor. So we want to watch more of it. So that's a positive. It's not like okay, he's gone. We don't have to watch this anymore.
When does the Witcher 3rd series come out?
June.
Isn't it June?
Okay.
June 17th or something like that.
That's another one that had some controversy around its trailer release.
Yeah.
It's the I can't remember his name. Henry Cavill is supposed to be done
this year.
Of that season's end.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Which ruins it for a lot of people.
Which means The Witcher is done.
Yep.
I got to have my Cavill.
Yeah,
Yes.
he kind of made that character work for everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a video of him out there, and I'm not ashamed to say that I watched it for 5 minutes or whatever it was, of just him in a tank top building a computer at home. There was no plot, no action. It was just him in a tank top building a computer. It was fascinating.
Yep.
I recommend it to everyone.
Yeah, well, he's
to that. I'll watch
it. Yes.
Wait, we missed all. We got a couple of comments here.
Yeah, you got to do the one before that. Yeah.
They're coming up too fast.
Yep.
Yeah.
There we go. A series with a couple of plot holes can do the same.
Yeah, Anita, we don't talk about Liam Hemsworth. He's garbage.
No.
Yeah.
I don't have an opinion on him, but it's Henry Cavill is The Witcher.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, for sure. We were watching. I was watching Justice League with Heather. You know, the 3-hour version, 4 hours, whatever it was, and you don't really get Henry Cavill till like the last 10 minutes, which is ridiculous. Right. And when he's in, I was like, honey. I mean, you just sat through 3.5 hours of Ben Affleck squeezed like a sausage into this Batman suit. It's like, I need something good here, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about going off the rails. How did we end up?
No,
we went from horror projects to Henry Cavill.
We stayed on the rails perfectly. We got through all my notes, Katie. Got through the notes.
Is that why my phone keeps beeping? You know, I don't check my phone when we have a show.
Come on, Rebecca.
Like, girl, stop.
So for everyone, all those beeps, that was Rebecca trying to message me.
Well, this has been good. I had a good time.
Yeah, you need to come back and visit us more often. We miss
I'll
you.
do that.
Yes.
I'll come back when maybe you have somebody else on too. That way it's not just me. Because I don't have very interesting things to talk about. Yeah.
Yes,
sometimes it's just about chatting with your friends.
Yeah.
Hanging out, talking shop, just enjoying each other's company.
Yes.
I like it.
Yes.
Well, I really appreciate you Yes, Rebecca, I would love to come on with you. That would be great.
That would be
Wait,
fun.
in a
great.
tank top. What?
What?
In
No,
a
that's Henry
tank
Tingle.
top. Wait, who's in a tank top?
Wait,
Henry.
Rebecca
what
or
about
me?
this?
I can't do tank tops. I've got too much mass. Like putting a tank top on or not Jar Jar Binks.
We don't want to
What
break the
hell is the
internet
big guy?
with the awesome site.
No, but I really do appreciate you two having me on so soon to talk about this project, and it was great.
Yes, it
Yeah,
was great
I'm so
seeing
glad
you.
that you were able to come back on and join us. You've got a new project to talk about, and we'll take any excuse to have you come visit.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Well,
And before we go, I do have one announcement. Monday,
yes.
Pack Magic comes out.
Oh,
Yep. So it's coming out on, alone, not in the set. So yay.
Yay!
Oh
Is
my
that
God.
is that a wolf romancy thing?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
It's the sequel to Shades of Night, which is a series I wrote.
Okay.
What, last
Oh.
year? I don't know when I wrote that.
No. Now here, I just have a quick question. I mean, is there a sexy time in this book?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so here I've got to tell you, and you might have already fixed this, but
Mhm.
I've read a number of werewolf romances because over the years I've been friends with a number of authors who have asked me to read their werewolf romances. All right.
Mhm.
They all only do sexy time when they're humans, which seems
Mhm.
really unrealistic to me. I mean, wouldn't they do sexy time in wolf form too?
At some point, yes.
Some point?
But
Okay.
not on the page on mine, sorry.
Okay.
Apparently, I need to go check my messages.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Yes. And you didn't message
God.
me.
Oh no.
Like, Rebecca.
So on that note, we have
Yes.
somewhere else to be, so we will talk to you guys later.
All right. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll be back again soon.